Hello, hi Stephanie, how are you?
Hi, Nizam. Thank you for having me. I'm
Thank
doing
you very
great.
much. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to interview you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So, friends, we have Stephanie Conkle here. She is an award-winning certified clinical hypnotherapist, an NLP master, and EFT practitioner. She is also an ICBCH certified hypnosis instructor and the founder of Clear Life Results Hypnotherapy and Stephanie Conkle Hypnosis. She created and now teaches the amazing the profound somnambulism protocol, which is the theme of today's interview. So, Stephanie, my first question, and even boring question, how did you get into hypnosis?
Oh, Ooh, that's a very long story of how
Okay.
I actually got there. The simple version of the story is that this I wholeheartedly believe is my life's purpose. And
Okay.
I had been working in corporate office for a long time, and I was not happy, and I was searching for a life's purpose.
Mhm.
And I said a prayer, and I said, no matter how strange it is, I will follow it. I didn't know it would lead me to hypnosis.
Okay.
um, I was thinking maybe I would be a missionary, something like that. No. um, Growing up, I was always sort of interested in hypnosis when I first saw it. Um, First time it was ever done to me was my dad actually hypnotized me. He was not a hypnotist, he
Okay.
was an actor, but he saw a hypnotherapist because he had insomnia. And when
Okay.
he was cured of his insomnia, he thought that was pretty amazing. And then he just wanted to try to hypnotize me just to see if he could. And he was just acting,
Mhm.
but I was a child, so it worked on me.
Okay.
Right. And so that was the first time, that was my very first experience with hypnosis. And then as I got older, I became more and more curious about the brain and how the brain worked. I was just curious about how hypnosis even worked to begin with. Stage hypnotist had come to the university that I was at and had done a stage show, and that blew me away because the people he was hypnotizing were very intelligent people. So, and at that time I thought, oh, maybe only weak-minded people could be
Okay.
hypnotized. But very intelligent people were being hypnotized. So then that made me think like, there is something to this. There's something very powerful about the mind that it can even be hypnotized. Um, Later, after my daughter was born, I developed a fear of flying.
Okay.
Um, and I knew it was irrational because I used to get on airplanes and fly all the time. And even though I was a little nervous, I wouldn't have full on panic attacks. I would have full on panic attacks just thinking about having to get on an airplane. Um, then there was an occasion where I had to get on an airplane. I had no other choice. So I thought, well, I know that this is psychological. I need to be hypnotized. So it worked so well for me that I just became curious. How does this work? Why does this work? And so I started studying it. I started reading every book I could get my hands on. And uh, and I would say the rest is history, but that's sort of the beginning of it. I still went through had to go through the corporate career that I was not happy with. I quit that job. I quit with a baby and a mortgage. And the mortgage was based on my salary and not on
Okay.
my husband's salary because I made more money at the time. And so I oh, and speaking of life, since you're a life coach, I quit my job and I actually started off as a life coach. I became a life coach at first, but during this, and I was just seeing people at Starbucks because I was sort of stayed at home with the children, so I needed a job that I could do part time and make my own hours, but still supplement my income. But nobody really wanted a lot of life coaching from me once they heard that I knew hypnosis. And so I just kept getting
Okay.
all these requests for hypnosis. And so then I changed my company to a hypnosis company. Um, and now the rest is history. So I've been a clinical hypnotherapist for 15 years now, and yeah.
And Stephanie, you have created various products. Okay. So my very first question is like, what inspired you and what happened? Like, please, could you please tell me about somnambulism protocol and how is it different?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you for asking. So, with the profound somnambulism protocol,
Yeah.
that first of all, let me explain what that is. Um, that is a deep hypnosis protocol where you can get the subconscious to talk through the client's voice with the client being over in a dream state and not being aware of what is being said. So you have to get that on a recording so they can go back and listen to see what their subconscious said. uh, and it's very powerful because in the past, in the old days, if I wanted someone to be in deep hypnosis and go to that non awareness state, I would have to set up idiomotor responses in the fingers, right? Just to get little yes or no responses. And that was really tough to do because it felt like I was playing 20 questions. And they could only answer with yes or no responses, or a maybe response, but I took out the maybe because that was getting more confusing. Um, and so even if I got a yes or no to a question, I would still have to fish around, um, and I wouldn't know the full story. This way, with my protocol, I can talk to the subconscious. The subconscious talks back to me in full sentences. It tells me what's happening, what's going on with the client, why this is happening, if there's a secondary gain, if the issue is serving a purpose, if they can even get rid of the issue because some issue is coming over through a karmic contract, so they signed up for this at the soul level, so that they can't get rid of it because that was in the agreement, unless they change the agreement. So there's just it's just so much better because I get so much more information. Um, the client goes to that non awareness state. So they're just in this little dream state vacation the whole time. And then um, I could ask the subconscious to make the changes at the unconscious level, and it will do it if it can. Now, sometimes it can't do it, but again, if it can't do it, there's a reason for it. Um, and if there's a reason, it's usually a spiritual reason. And at least my client can listen to the recording and understand what the reason is and work on themselves spiritually or whatever they need to do at that level. And I don't feel like I'm just a bad hypnotist who couldn't get this issue resolved. And now I know the reason why they still need this issue, if they still need it. Most of the time, the subconscious will resolve the issue in the
Okay.
office right there.
Wow, wow, amazing. So, what inspired you to develop this? Like, as you said, you weren't getting desired results with idiomotor responses. Still, I want to know a little more about it's emerging into the current role.
Okay, sure. And also, I would like to say that before I was even using idiomotor responses, I was just doing hypnosis the basic way and just
Mhm.
giving the direct suggestions. And that's sort of like throwing spaghetti to the wall and hoping that it will stick. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. I wanted and needed it to work every time for me. So I read a lot of books and I was doing a lot of studying. And in my sessions, sometimes I would accidentally get not act well, yeah. The subconscious would talk to me, but I wouldn't know how that happened. I didn't
Okay.
deliberately have a
Um,
protocol to get the subconscious to talk, and I didn't understand how that was happening. Some of the books that I was reading, I would read through some of the transcripts, and it sounded like the subconscious was talking and that it wasn't a conscious response. Um, And so then I started like, what is this? What is this? And I started learning that. I learned that that is actually called direct voice. I didn't know that there was a name for it. So it was like, oh,
Okay.
well, this has happened. This is a thing. And why did nobody teach that to me? Why is nobody teaching direct voice hypnosis? So I learned all I could about direct voice hypnosis. There wasn't a lot of material out there for me to discover, so I had to just start workshopping this on the weekends with volunteers who I would hypnotize for free, just so I could see what I needed to do in order to get the direct voice. And then I finally figured out how to do it. I was only doing it for myself. I wasn't even planning on teaching it. I just wanted something that worked for me. When other hypnotherapists found out what I was doing, then they wanted to know how to do it as well. And I had so many requests for it that I was like, wait, let me just make a class. And so now I've been teaching it for maybe 6 years now, something like that.
Amazing.
Five,
And
yeah.
could you please, share some of the unique success stories using this protocol, which
Yeah.
would been possible otherwise?
Okay, sure. Now, with this protocol, I can talk directly to the subconscious, which now I speak to this as it's if it's an entity, but it is the client. It is the client. It's not separate from the client. It is a part of them. It is the part of it's their intuitive self. It's the part of you, Nizam, that says don't walk down that dark alleyway. And if you walk down that dark alleyway and you get mugged or robbed and all your money taken, what do you say to yourself? You say, I should have listened to myself. I knew not to do that, but I didn't listen to myself. Well, that's your subconscious. Your subconscious is also responsible for healing you very quickly. Yeah, it's responsible for a lot of things. Um, Also the unconscious. I define the unconscious as your body, is all your cells in your body that also have their own intelligence. If you cut your finger, you don't have to stare at your finger all day and go, heal,
Yes.
heal, heal. You cannot consciously make your finger heal, right? But you just trust that your unconscious, that healing part of your unconscious, is already sending information up into your finger to make it heal. All you can do is observe it healing and watch it scab over and disappear, and then you forget about it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we know that you have this really wise, deep intelligence. If you go up some levels, there is what I call the higher self, which, in my personal opinion, I believe that it is your soul. It's the part of you that's directly connected to source energy. People can believe what they want about this, but it's definitely the wisest part of yourself. And then I can also talk to the collective unconscious, which, if you want to go on a more spiritual level, the universal collective consciousness. Um, and then when they talk through the client, they refer to themselves as we.
Okay.
Um, so it's very interesting. You can just keep going. You can go higher and higher and higher. Um, and just depending on the client and what their comfort level is. I wouldn't do that with someone who did not have a spiritual belief. But if they have a spiritual belief, it's fun to talk to the collective or to the higher self. And it's fun to see if they've had past lives, and it's fun to see what their life's purpose is. So we can do all that kind of work at that level.
So, like anything that you remember, which
Oh,
working with a client that you,
yeah. Yeah. So I've had many sessions. Many sessions. Okay, it's one of the ones that really sticks out to me is I had a woman who um, didn't know that she had a lump in her breast.
okay,
And the subconscious told me we had the subconscious do a body scan and to see if she needed to be healed anywhere. And it told me that there was a lump in her breast,
oh,
and so I asked it to heal the lump, and it did. And she was like, oh, I didn't know I had a lump in my breast, but this is something that runs in my family. And it dissolved the lump. I don't know if the lump was carcinogenic or not. I just know it was a lump and it got rid of it and it did it in my chair when she was in my chair. I also had a man who had heart disease, and the subconscious agreed to clear out the you know what are these arteries um, in his heart, and I had another man who he was on antidepressants, and he was able to wean off of his antidepressants. I mean, with his doctor's help, but from seeing me, he's was able to wean off of them and then never get back on them again. I think the healing stories are the most impressive ones, because it just happens quickly and automatically, and it's something that's provable and tangible. But I've had a lot of just deep, wise insights that my clients get about what their life's purpose is, or behaviors that need to be changed. I've even had, oh, another thing. This is one instance where um, the higher self came through, or I believe it was the collective. It was a higher part, a spiritual part, and that part of the client talked about the client, what the client needed. We talked with it, negotiated it with it. It did what it needed to do. But at the end of her session, she looked right at me. Now, the client, her eyes open, but she's in a non-awareness state. She doesn't know that her eyes are open and that she's talking to me with the higher self. Talked to me and said, Stephanie, she said, why haven't you finished your book? You've been procrastinating on that book, and we've laid this on your heart to do it. The world needs this book. You need to finish it. That scared me. I think I was like
Amazing.
trembling. I was trying to maintain my composure, but that scared me when she did that. And when the client woke up later, she had no idea that she had said that. My client didn't know that I was working on a book. So,
Oh, wonderful.
so very amazing things can definitely
Yes.
happen with this protocol.
Wow, wow. So does this need a special method of induction deepener, or it has all the elements, Stephanie?
Yeah, it's a deepening protocol. So, you get your client into hypnosis in any typical way you would just normally do it. I do give some tips and hints of how to do it easier. Um, but it's a type of deepening protocol, and then it's a mind body dissociation that you add into the deepener, and then you're able to have access to direct voice,
Okay.
subconscious healing. Yeah.
So some people are highly analytical. Okay.
Yeah.
So still, would this protocol help to bypass their
Okay.
analytical part and also
So,
communicate?
not the protocol in and of itself, but I have a different protocol that does that. That's called easy and effective resistance clearing. It's not that I have lots of super analytical clients who can go very deep into trance. It's not that. It's people who want to be in control, or they have some sort of unconscious fear of being hypnotized. So, when I run into resistance, I clear out the resistance first,
Okay.
and then I can put them into deep trance hypnosis.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing. Wow.
yeah.
And Stephanie, could you please tell me about the difference? There is the profound somnambulism protocol and how to turn anyone into a somnambulist. So, what is the difference between
Yeah.
these two products?
Okay, sure. So the how to turn almost anyone into a somnambulist was basically this is a class that I taught on a type of Ericksonian
Mhm.
hypnosis of
Okay.
um, basically in Basically, that is another way too of how to get someone who is very analytical into trance. It's not the same thing as the profound somnambulation protocol.
Okay.
And that's why, it's pretty, I don't want to say cheap. I don't like that word, but it's pretty cheap on my website to buy that one because it's nice. It's good information. It's good tips. It's good to know, especially if you're just starting out as a hypnotist.
Okay.
But if you've already been a hypnotist for a while and you're ready to take it to the next level and you want to get this wonderful phenomenon, then you would take the profound somnambulism protocol.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you for that difference.
Yeah, I know I should probably change the name, but I actually made that class a long time ago. I
Okay.
taught it at a hypnosis convention
Mhm.
back in, I want to say 2008 or something like that,
Oh, okay.
2010.
Okay.
So, and then I ended up eventually I did a webinar and I recorded it, and that was just the name of it. It's
Okay.
still a good thing to have. I have a lot of
Yes.
good
Yes.
reviews for that product. It's definitely good information, especially if you are Ericksonian. It's good to know some of this
Okay.
stuff.
And smoking cessation protocol. Is it based on again the similar somnambulism protocol, or is it
This
like?
is not based on that. You can actually do smoking cessation with the profound somnambulism protocol. The only thing is that the reason why I did my protocol is because this is a waking hypnosis protocol. You don't even have to put them into trance at all for this
Okay.
to be effective. And I just wanted to show people how to do that. People get nervous taking smoking cessation clients because they have to stop smoking, right? And they feel like a failure if they don't. Well, I have really good techniques that I lead you through, that I lead the client through when they first come into the office, that's going to assure them that they are going to leave my office a non-smoker.
Wow.
So,
Amazing.
and
Amazing.
I don't even use hypnosis. I mean, maybe a little bit of light hypnosis that they're not really aware that it's light hypnosis, but I don't do any
Okay.
sort of like formal induction or anything like that
Wow.
with them. So,
Beautiful. Thank you
or
for
wait,
creating this amazing products for
yeah,
hypnotherapists.
right. And you can do right, you can do I want to say I think in one of the videos I do actually an induction, but it's just a very quick one and you can tell that they're still consciously aware of what I'm saying. They're not in the non-awareness state like how they are with the profound somnambulism protocol.
Okay. Wow. Wonderful.
So,
And something really attracted my attention.
uh-huh.
Read to be hypnotized. What is this, Stephanie?
Oh, the read to
That
me.
was like,
So this
why
is
am I reading?
just a script. It's a script that I wrote that you could either hand to your client or you can read
Okay.
it yourself if you want to do self-hypnosis. And
Okay.
it's just patter to get someone into hypnosis just by reading it. So you don't even have to. I just thought it was kind of a fun thing to do.
Yes. Amazing.
And it works. So um, people can read and be hypnotized. I've actually hypnotized people over text messaging before. It's not my preferred way to hypnotize someone because I like to see them and get feedback through visual feedback. But but it can be done. So
And I've seen about this meditation, attraction meditation for hypnotists and hypnotherapists. So,
that's just me doing a little meditation, guided meditation with people to attract more clients. So um, but if you scroll down further, here's my easy and effective resistance clearing.
yes.
That is how you can get someone who is resistant into hypnosis. Um, so if you want to get someone who's analytical into hypnosis, then I
Yes.
would say get the how to turn almost anyone into a somnambulist. If you want to get someone who's highly resistant into hypnosis or feels like they need to control the session, then the easy and effective resistance clearing protocol will work.
So, are we in resistance in the sense there could be resistance could be anything, right, Stephanie?
It can be
Fear,
anything.
yeah,
Yes.
logic, or what is
Right.
hypnotist going to extract out of me. I don't want to tell my secrets. Or it could be anything. So
It could
will
be
this
anything.
protocol help us to bypass their resistance or help them
Yeah.
is like what it
Well,
does?
we don't bypass it. We look it in the face and deal with it.
Oh, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We deal with it and we let it go. And they realize they don't need it anymore. Because it's a coping mechanism that they've set up, that their subconscious has set up. It has manifested in them at some point in their life, and they don't need that coping mechanism anymore, so we just send it off. We just let it go. Yeah, so you do have, this is more working with parts and personality parts work,
Okay.
that kind of thing. But it's very effective.
Yeah, because one of the tools every hypnotherapist needs to have is to have this kind of because they cannot just 3 4 clients they have like just progressive muscle relaxation or
Right.
this work that work. Some people like no,
That's right.
I didn't feel like I was hypnotized or this and that.
Right. And for me, I had to figure out that part of the equation, or I wasn't going to keep doing this work. So I was like, if I can't get every client properly hypnotized, then what am I doing? So I had to take the challenge on myself. Like, I've got to figure this out, or I've got to find another line of work. So I'm like, I'm not going back to corporate ever. So I'm going to figure this out. So that was my motivating reason to figure this stuff out. I'm just figuring out for me, but I'm sharing it with you
With the world.
guys.
Yes,
So,
it's awesome. Such a wonderful product. This is what makes me happy. Like, see, when people are stuck, even professionally, on how to deal with different types of clients, Stephanie. So when they have access to these kind of beautiful products, and it makes their job easier and grow professionally as well. So thank you.
absolutely. Yes.
And this one about hypnoanesthesia and glove anesthesia, that
Yeah.
what attracted me is about waking hypnosis.
Yes. So I actually, this is what I won my award for, not actually the profound somnambulism protocol, because nobody even knew what the heck that was. But
Okay.
so my award was for the glove anesthesia, well, total anesthesia and glove analgesia, or anesthesia, depending on
Mhm.
how dissociated you want them. But yeah, so this is also waking hypnosis. This is a Dave Ellman technique
Mhm.
that I found, and it was not in his book, his famous book Hypnotherapy. It's in his. He trained doctors and dentists, and he had a training course that was on records. It was recorded,
Okay.
and so this was a part of his training. And so uh, it's it's amazing because yeah, just start using waking hypnosis, but what happens is that they do slip in to a deep trance, but you start in the waking state. You don't, and you just say a few words, and you don't do any kind of formal induction on them. It's really amazing, and but
Yeah.
I give the credit to that to Dave Ellman. I just teach you guys how to do it.
Okay. So, like, will this protocol help in dealing with the pain and other situations, Stephanie? Like, what are the applications?
It can. I've got better, not not better, that's not the word. I've got different pain removal strategies if it's pain. This is
Mhm.
like, let's say you're going to the dentist and you can't have the Novocaine for whatever reason. You can use, like, say, glove analgesia to numb your jaw on your own without the dentist having to do that to you.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So you could also, if you had to have an operation and you were allergic to, let's say, the chemicals in the chemical anesthesia, you could be hypnotized and still have the procedure done. Also, if you're giving birth and you want a pain-free birth, you can also use this method as well. And then you get to control it yourself. So it's something that I help set up in the client, but then they can control it anytime they want. And yeah.
Just imagine, having these tools on fingertips and how many applications this could have.
Yeah.
Yes.
it is truly amazing, and I even forget how amazing all of this is because I'm so immersed in it and I work with it every day. And when I explain it to other people and their jaw drops, it's like, oh yeah, this is pretty amazing work. That's right. And I love doing it. I'm absolutely passionate about it. Like I said, I've been a hypnotherapist for 15 years now, and I can go another 15 years and be very happy doing this. So,
And one last question, Stephanie. So,
yeah.
like about profound somnambulism protocol, what I want to ask is, I'm sorry, it's not last question. I have a couple more.
Okay.
So here is like a different type of clients with different needs. Like let's say someone have repetitive patterns like attracting shitty relationships, like
Yeah.
breakup after breakup of breakup, and
Hmm.
then they
Hmm.
like, God is angry at me, or God is bad, or why can't I attract? Some people have repetitive business failures, or it
Yeah.
could be some people have frequently falling sick or meeting with an accident,
Hmm.
but they don't know what is the root cause. If they find out the answers where the
Hmm.
subconscious mind talks back to them,
Hmm.
and such patterns can be resolved, how beautiful it would be. Would
So
this be
beautiful.
applicable?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Is this protocol applicable to help people to resolve such patterns?
Absolutely. And yeah, also I want to say that for years before doing this protocol, I was doing regression
Okay.
hypnotherapy and I was trying to get to the initial sensitizing event, the activating event, doing all the emotional clearing work. I want to say, that worked, but it was very draining. It was very draining. It was very emotionally draining on both the client and myself. I would have to take a nap after each of
Okay.
those sessions. With this protocol, you can just simply ask the subconscious, and the subconscious will tell you where it originated, why it's there, does it still need to be there, can it dissolve the issue, um, what needs to happen, uh, what the life's purpose is of the client. It can tell you like any question that you ask it. Now, I will say that sometimes I will get I don't know from the subconscious, like it doesn't know why something is happening. I mean, that's very rare that I get that, but sometimes I do. And when I get that, I just simply say, "Well, thank you. Let me speak with a higher self." And then
Okay.
I'll just go up the chain of command. It's kind of like
Manager, CEO.
I'll just go up to the next level and I'll just ask if the higher self doesn't know, I'll ask the collective. Somebody's going to know in that chain of command. Um, and if there's some reason why there's something that is unknown, it's for a reason. It's because the client is not supposed to know it, and it's usually a
Okay,
spiritual reason.
right.
So
So, does one has to believe in this, or just be open to
no, just
explore?
be open. You don't have to believe in it. Just be open to the experience and whatever it is. I personally believe there's a spiritual element to it. You don't even have to believe that there's a spiritual element to it. I have clients who have no spiritual beliefs, or at least not, they have no woo-woo beliefs like me. And they still get positive, lasting results all the time. So I just say, just like with all good hypnosis, you test it out and let's see how this worked, right? And that's the proof. The proof is that it works. And
Okay.
which is wonderful. And let's say, and also I want to say a lot of my sessions, um, I only need to see them one time, and then if I always ask for the follow up because I personally want to see how they're doing. Um, but sometimes they need more than one session, even with profound somnambulism. And I've asked the subconscious about that, um, and that's because sometimes they need to process. They need the
Yes.
time. They
Yes.
need the time to process. They need the time to learn. They need the time for integration. And so I just honor whatever comes up in the session. Whatever the subconscious tells me, I just honor that. And the subconscious will let me know if they need more sessions or not. So,
Oh, wow. Beautiful. And
yeah.
please tell me about the book that you have written. Keyword happy person, happy life.
Yeah, so that's based on the science of happiness, and that's a
Mhm.
scientific book. That's all brain-based. There's nothing spiritual about, well, yeah, okay, I would say nothing spiritual about it, although I believe everything is sacred to a degree. But it's all brain-based. It's all scientifically backed. Just it's techniques that you can do, and if you do these techniques every day, you'll be a much happier person. So it changes the neurology in your brain to just to be happy and to have this, I call it background happiness. I think a lot of people have background depression. They
Yeah.
they get through their day and they seem fine, but they've got this background depression. This changes that background depression into background happiness. Uh, so you just feel better. But you have to do, with this, you have to do the exercises because this is based on creating new neural pathways. But once you've done the exercises, then you're fine. And there's a lot of well, there's a few NLP exercises in there as well that I include, and you probably know a lot about NLP, being a life coach. Um, but there's different techniques. So there's real techniques that they can do, and it's like if you do these techniques every day and I just asked 21 days, 3 weeks to form that habit, then then you're set. And why wouldn't you want to be happy?
Wow.
I'm also writing another book at the moment. It's
Mhm.
called The Ultimate Power Within.
Wow.
And it's how to ask your own subconscious for answers, help, and healing. I'm not finished with that yet, but hopefully that will come out sometime late
Okay.
this year or early next year.
You
If I
know
can get
what,
on the ball
Stephanie?
with, if I can get on the ball and stop procrastinating on it.
You have answered my question well before I have asked you. What my question was is,
Oh,
can profound somnambulism protocol be used to get answers from our own subconscious? And
absolutely. Yeah.
then there you go about the book, which is coming
Well,
up.
and in the book is not even based on my protocol. It's based on letting people know that you have this higher source of wisdom in you at all times. You can check in with that person. That is you. It's just different aspects of you, right? You can check in with your inner spirit and know the answers. It's just learning to trust your inner spirit, right? Letting your inner spirit guide you. So this book just helps give you some tools
Okay, okay.
to do that. Yeah.
But still, my question is about, does the profound somnambulism protocol can be used on self without having to rely on other hypnotherapists?
That's harder to do. I've actually had a student who who wrote a self-hypnosis like taking my profound somnambulism, and he set up a self-hypnosis protocol, but it seems like a lot of steps, like a lot of recording yourself and listening back to it, and it's just easier just to find someone who knows how to
Yeah,
do it
when there
and
is
let them
easy
do it to
method,
you.
utilize it. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you want to get that direct voice, it's a conversation because your inner spirit is talking to you at all times, right? It's just, are you listening,
Yes. One.
right?
Yes. And Stephanie, you have created one product about pre-talk on hypnosis, which hypnotherapists can use
Yes.
to educate their clients. Is it meant for the people who use your protocol, or this is very
No, it's
generic?
for anybody. This is
Okay.
another product that I created before I did it again. I created this for a hypnosis conference, and this was before my protocol became a thing. And it's just for anyone using hypnosis and needs a pre-talk. Um, so, you know, if you're just starting off and you don't have a good pre-talk, it's good to have it on a PowerPoint. And with this PowerPoint, each slide describes what hypnosis is and gives the client the chance to ask questions, and it sets them up. It sets the expectations for them
Wow.
to go safely into hypnosis and deeply into hypnosis. So by the time they get to the last slide, they're ready. They're ready. If they're not already hypnotized by the last slide, they're ready to go into hypnosis. Plus, my slides are full of subliminal messaging. And it's good because if you can do a really good pre-talk, then that just makes the rest of your session so much
Yes.
easier. And a really good pre-talk removes fear and it sets up expectations. So you don't have to remember it. Let's say it's your last client of the day and you're exhausted. You just can turn on that PowerPoint. Also, the slides are there. You can change them around to however you want them to be. Like I have a definition of hypnosis on one slide, but that's not everyone's definition of a hypnosis or so you can add your own definition or your favorite definition of hypnosis. So what I'm saying is you can change the slides, but it's there just to help you as a resource.
Yes. And Stephanie, this is my promise. This is my last question. Okay. So, Stephanie, how much ever training a person might have undergone through? Like there could be 2 days to 2 weeks or like whatsoever, but uh, personal mentoring is something different because once we get trained and once we are working with our clients, the situations are different. Hey, wait, I wasn't taught this. I didn't expect this.
Yes.
That's when the mentoring comes into the picture.
Yeah.
So you offer mentoring sessions as well. So could you please tell a bit of importance of mentoring and how what kind of mentoring do you offer for it?
Right. So I offer mentoring for other, hypnotists, but then I also offer spiritual mentoring as well, some spiritual coaching.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, I just like I will go through step by step with you and I'll watch you, I'll observe you, I'll give you suggestions or ideas, or I won't say, hey, that's not right. I say, well, you may want to try using this instead, or you may want to try doing, well, and if you do the mentoring program with me, I will go through everything. I will go through your business reports. I'll go through how much you're charging and how many clients are you seeing. And I get very technical with this. I get my Excel spreadsheet out. and and we take a good look of what's working in your business, what's not working in your business. Why is this working? Why is it not working? So a lot of people, they don't want to really take a good look at it. They're afraid to take a look at their business and how it's doing. But we need to know exactly what your business is doing, and then we're going to make some projections for you, some sales projections. And so this is more of, a business. And I also have I'm busy. I also have a business coaching group that I do every Friday with hypnotist who and hypnotherapist. It could also be life coaches or any kind of coach who would like. Just right now, I just have hypnotist in there, but any kind of coach could benefit from this business coaching that I do online. Um, so I'll give you the link to that if people want
Yes,
to sign
yes.
up for that.
So, thank you very much, Stephanie. It was wonderful talking to you. And thank you once again for
Likewise.
gifting these amazing products to the fellow hypnotherapists. And I'm sure uh, these products are utilized in the field of hypnosis and make difference in people's life. So thank you once again.
Thank you so much for having me, Nizam. I really appreciate
Thank
you.
And friends, whoever is watching this interview, I'm going to provide all the required links and you can directly contact Stephanie and you can utilize these products. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.